Let's go, take two, the return to Splatboro. And going to get things started up here. The teams that you are seeing in purple, Fortunes, and in yellow, we're seeing Slim Jim Giant Smoke Meat Sticks, Hot Artificial Flavor 0.97 ounce, 1 pack. So we're going to get the Sturgeon Shipyard for game number 1.
And it's going to be an interesting fight, right? We've seen 2 heavy Splatlings, actually, and a Hydra coming out on the side of Slim. That's crazy. I can't believe that they actually decided to go for it, but the Hydra has been so crazy during these first few matches, these first few weeks. It has so much range, and there's so little displacement to deal with it. You'll see that the important thing is going to be Slimy's Killer Whale that he's firing off right now at Appleboom to try and displace the Hydra and get them back into the zone. That's exactly what we're going to see. We
were talking about the double backliner meta, and we have the Splattershot Pros to sort of supplement that as they're going to retake control at about 34 ticks to the meter. Going to continue on, and the the Wavebreaker, excuse me, right in the middle of the zone. But the pro of Baki going to take care of that, and Sleepy as well, too, right in the middle of the map. And that is where it will end. The heavy splat lane of that So coming through and getting the job done.
It's so fascinating right now, the style that they're trying to play for. It seems like they're trying to let Mr. L work with those dually squelchers to try and get them back into the zone. And finally, it seems like they've broken through. And now it's just going to be a matter of whether or not they can find that lockout situation, right? Keep them at the choke points that they need to be held at. But if they have control of that top spinner area, it's going to be a key point to get them back in as we see the specials come online and the Crab Tank going to start firing at Sleepy in the zone.
4-4 on the map. It is a full team fight, but the control will be ceded right back to the team in purple. That is Fortunes. However, we got the Wavebreaker right in the middle of the map. Got Slimy with the assist, trying to retake the zone. It's taking 3 to even try to win control of this thing. And at long last, Slim Jim Giant Smoke Meat Sticks Hot Artificial Flavor 0.97 ounce has retaken the zone.
If you're gonna say that every time, I'm just gonna.
I'm going to try.
I want to stop you. I want to try and just like get in your head so that you don't.
You're even forgetting the 1X afterwards.
The 1X?
Yeah, there's 1X.
I do stand corrected. The team name is Slim Jim Giant Smoked Meat Sticks Hot Artificial Flavor 0.97 ounce 1X. So I do stand corrected. My apologies. Either way.
Yeah, you should.
The score is 69. It's an oversight on my part. 69 to 35 is the score on the map right now as we're about halfway done.
You tried your best. That's a 5.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah. GG, go next.
GG, go next. And that's what they're trying to do as we see Sleepy once again trying to move forward with that range flash. They're going to get picked off instantly. The wall going to try and protect that So, but it seems like he's not going to find it. Wall against the bomb against the wall, going to be able to clear them out. And finally, they're going to be able to move them off of this high point, trying to squid surge up on that wall there. Not going to be able to find it. Slimy on the sticks, able to find the picks and the zone. And finally, they're going to get a little bit more time. If they can deal with this Crab Tank, they can actually make a sufficient play towards moving forward.
Yeah, but they're having to do a lot of work to just keep the zone. They're not winning these one-on-one matchups maybe as easily as they probably should. That Blaster is going to need to do a little bit more work, and certainly on this point, as the special comes online, the Wavebreaker, going to see what we can do there. Going to play a little WarriorWare game with their opponents. As they're getting down on the counter, over 70 points accrued. They're going to have to try to come back to 94. Baki with 2, and they're going to retake the zone. Going to try to cut into the penalty now, and they have 94 points in the lead. They're looking for the knockout, and Baki is still hunting for heads.
That is crazy. Baki went so insane there, so clutch. Even after getting done with the Crab Tank, not finding exactly what he wanted, was able to just say, all right, I have everything I need to do the works, to make the moves, and get these picks every single time. And teaming up with Chins there, look at the teamwork, too. Like, this is fantastic. And like you said before, the team will always beat the group of 4 players.
And we are seeing it now. The penalty is gone, and there is the KO. Just shy of 4 minutes, and that is going to be game number 1. Taken for Fortunes. A valiant effort being brought to the table by the team in yellow, but ultimately, I mean, Fortunes, what a job that they did to be able to get through with the double backline. Appleboom and Rakesh absolutely crucial to the victory there, and just charging in with those big, heavy weapons they just were not able to really combat that.
No, exactly. There's a significant focus that is going to be placed on the few displacement tools that we have left. There's no more armor. There's no more like Stingray. Missile spam is less so. It's on less weapons, right? But having those important long range, I'm going to remove you from this spot specials are going to be so important, because otherwise those backlines are going to be able to take hold. And on paper, Slim Jims should win this. Right? Like, they have like probably the more experienced roster in That's So, in Slimy, and a little bit in Sleepy. But if Baki and Chins can, though that duo can just tear apart that coordination, that's going to go well for them.
I mean, anything.
Fortune's won that game, right?
Yeah.
Anything can happen, right? Fortune's taking it right to the. Right to the forehand. Yeah, like straight up drove it in. And they were getting into the zone so easily compared to how hard Slim Jim Giant Smoked Meat Sticks, Hot Artificial Flavored 0.97 ounce 1X. Just a little bit easier than they were able to do.
I agree.
I'm gonna try to do this every time.
We've got the monitor for it. We've got everything. You can, I believe. I'm rooting for you.
I appreciate that, man. Honestly, your sort of your somewhat belief is going to carry me through, I think.
All right, we can do this.
Yeah. I believe in you to an extent. That's cool. No, so we're going to.
I believe that we are going to be going to a counter pick. What is the counter pick? Can you press L?
The counter pick is going to be
TC Museum.
Interestingly.
I think that would work well for them, though, right? If they're going to try and go for something more aggressive, like, it's going to be a lot harder to find those perch points for the backliners, right? Like, the Hydra Splatling is not going to be able to set up as easily, especially if he's going to try and peek over that ledge. If there's like a Luna Blast or something right beneath it.
I mean, double backline in theory works here as well, and we're going to see if Apple Boom and Rakesh are going to find success on Museum de Alfonsino for this game too. And yeah, just because you're not having to commit your own body to it, you're able to get to that tower. This has kind of always been where range was king. You know,
right.
Even going back to 2, like if you were playing a backliner, it was probably in this mode.
Yeah, exactly. And so that is going to be a real key point here, right? Like if they could just fire shots from afar, it's going to take a very coordinated, a lot of sustained pressure from the side of the Slim Jims for them to make a sustained push. One is going to end up going down here. They're going to go with a double blaster composition, essentially. All of a sudden, they get wiped out, all 4 down at, like, basically the same time. What in the world just happened? Did they all just lose their 1v1s? That's what it looked like. The Crab Tank is going to get fired online here and is going to keep them at bay in their base. And Sleepy's going to end up going down for it. The Enzap finally gets traded out, but that's 3 down. It's only the machine left, and all of a sudden, the massive push from Fortunes is not slowing down anytime soon as Slimy comes in for a flank. And Rakesh might just be able to stay on this tower for the longest time.
Yeah, and just being able, like, you're the backline. You know how to move around in that little tiny space. Rakesh has been doing it for quite a long time. That's 65%. There's a soda machine and not a drop to drink for Team Yellow, as it's going to be taken over by the blue ink of Slim Jim Giant Smoked Meat Sticks Hot Artificial Flavor 0.97 ounce 1X. And the Crab Tank is going to come out too. Yeah, Crab goes pretty well with Meat Sticks. Gonna swim on through a deluge of yellow ink that Fortunes is trying to bring about. But the double backliner is not really able to find the target, as a little bit of progress is being made and eventually going to strike.
Oh, the backup! The backup from Slimy actually made that play so much more worthwhile. That's so able to get a nice shark on one, and Slimy's able to follow it up. Not going to get taken out of the booyah there. That's so important. Baki's going to end up going down for it, and this could be the sustained push that they're looking for. This map is so attacking favored, and because of that, they're going to be able to keep this push going for the longest time. They have a Crab Tank online that they could use to keep it going, but no! Doesn't fire it off early enough, and is not able to protect himself from the shots from the Enzap. And that's going to be, at the very least, a stopped push.
It was cheeky stuff there from Slimy, who's using that sloshing machine, which is very good in this this iteration of the game, I will say. And we were talking about that earlier, just because Fizzy Bomb has always been good. But yeah, to go along with how effective sloshing machines have generally been and how concentrated that blast is, we're going to see now Fortunes trying to get
close.
the... Oh, hang on.
They're able to get the lead.
They
The Slim Jims
do.
with the lead. That's so important.
And over 75 points accrued, and they're trying to make more progress. It will stop at 77 for now. But again, Slimy taking out Rakesh is going to try to shoot the wolf closest to the sleigh, as they're just trying to get through and keep that momentum going. But the Booyah Bomb going to try to take care of those double backliners, not quite as mobile, but they are not able to do anything for one on the map. And finally, Slim Jims, Giant Smoke, Meat Sticks, Hot Artificial Flavor 0.97 ounce 1X are going to retake control.
And it's so important, right? Because the double backline composition cannot be super mobile, right? Like, it's so hard for them to move up safely. As you saw that Rakesh on that heavy splatling, though, was able to walk around a little bit. Not going to be able to stay there efficiently, and not going to be able to move up as well as they need to. And so if they're not in the lead, if they're not the ones that are kind of just playing that Fortress style, they're going to have a very hard time getting it back. And they only have a small amount of time left to do so, and it's a very deep push that Slim Jims made.
Now we see their targets are marked. Are they going to be able to do anything about it? They're concentrating a lot on that corner, going towards Slimy, trying to get some kills off of the Shark, but the Booyah Bomb is going to make sure that they go right into what looked like the Splash-O-Matic, and that's going to be a full team wipe there from the boys in yellow. How about a little soda break?
I don't think it's a break, Stu.
Oh, no.
He's going all the way in, and he's going to respawn super quickly. That Splatter's going to be able to finally take it out. Mr. L trying to do the best to at least keep them at bay is going to go down as well. That's going to be the lead for Chins, and that's another wipe. That's going to be the game at the last moment, able to take it back.
What an effort that was put forth by 4Chins in order to get that back. A full 77 points being put on the board, but the KO is going to nullify all of that. And man, that push at the end, the ability to lock down really that entire choke point 8-Ball seemed to be key. And again, all stemming from the coordinated backline work, but you also see the frontliners really getting in on the action as well, getting in the faces and not really making Mr. L all that comfortable to begin with.
Right.
Seemed to be the difference there.
I think the star of that show was honestly Baki, right? Like the NZAP making forward progress, making forward movements, having that tactical to keep the momentum going, right? Like that's the entire point, is to just keep that pace, right? Which is so important, especially if you have a double backline composition. Like you need to try and just make everything move a little bit quicker, and that was so important. And then just like a couple of really clutch doubles, a couple of really nice cleanups, and that was a very clean game from Fortunes. But Slim Jims, like, they had moments of brilliance, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we especially saw that when they were able to retake the tower, and it looked like they were a lot more in control of that match than they were the prior one. Definitely a little bit easier moving around the tower. We saw Mr. L contributing on the back line with that charger. And certainly the amount of work that Slimy did should not be overlooked either.
Yes.
But I ultimately just did not quite come together enough to get through that one choke. And it felt like maybe just a little too overcommittal on some of those pushes, maybe overestimating the amount of resources that they had in comparison to what Fortunes were able to bring to the table.
Yeah, like there were very clear openings, I think, for Fortunes, right? Like very clear opportunities, like, oh, we can step forward, like we've got them on the ropes. But it never really felt that way when Slim Jims was actually trying to push, trying to make their way forward. Looks like we're going to be going for Rainmaker on Undertow, which is going to be a very hard map to get set up on, especially because, like, even if you go up on that glass area, it's actually really easy to get flanked or shot down or just thrown a couple of bombs up your way to knock you down from there. So they're going to have to be really careful with their spots. I actually really like this counter pick. Yeah,
so Undertow Spillway, that is... that's interesting. That's an interesting one to me, just because, I mean, you were talking about how finicky this map could be. I feel like, especially with all with all the inclines, it would favor a team, maybe a more mobile composition.
Yes.
And this is like something directly to counteract the double backline stuff that we're seeing from Fortunes.
Right, exactly. I think this is a perfect opportunity, right? And especially the composition that they have isn't good for like quick popping and running forward and creating that space, right? Like they're a lot more defensive, so they're going to really struggle on Rainmaker specifically, I think. It's going to be interesting. We're going to have to see if they can adapt, if they're going to change their weapon picks on the side of Fortunes, but I doubt it. Honestly, I think that they're just going to stick with what works and see if they can make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one way to know for sure. They're obviously pretty comfortable with their weapon composition, but if you had the chance to just kind of tinker with it, and maybe you get Sleepy playing something else, maybe you get Slimy off of the sloshing machine. I don't know if you really want to be doing that necessarily, but or maybe that's So, who again, one of the Bros Calamity Squall stars from back in the day.
Right, the old guard.
Maybe you get them back into the mix somehow. I mean, what is it that you're doing specifically to counteract what Fortunes brings to the table?
I think that you go full aggression. That's exactly what we're going to see. The Squelchies coming out, as well as the Pro on the side of that So, which is one of his best weapons, right? Like, he's a sharpshooter at the end of the day. He relies on his aim to get stuff done, and that's the perfect weapon for making this happen. They're going to be going forward, going to try and get this pop. The Splatlings are going to be revved up and ready to go and going to get that paint on the ground first, and they're 0-2. They need to try and make a comeback here. Let's see if they can do it.
I mean, the amount of work that we saw that So do, not just on Vanilla, but also on Forge when that was meta,
exactly.
Cannot be understated.
And there he goes, able to get a pick on the Rainmaker. He's going to have that Crab Tank charged up soon as well. He's going to move forward because of it. Going to try and find maybe a pick here, trying to team up with Slimy. Going to be able to send two of them his way, and now he's going to set up on this Crab Tank. Now, a very patient play from that So, and it's going to let them to that first Rainmaker checkpoint, which is different from Splatoon 2, right?
Exactly, the ability to just have a checkpoint. So you're not just wiping a team and then swimming all the way up. Anything to sort of stymie the tide. They're over 50. They're over the 50-point mark before they do eventually take their exit from this mortal coil. And it is now officially back onto Fortunes to try to take the lead. They've been there before, though.
Oh yeah, they've been here before, and they've been able to succeed most of the time, and they're going to win a couple of fights, and I think that that's almost a full wipe. Mr. L is going to be dancing, dodging around. I think they were a little bit confused on where the Rainmaker pedestal was, but it's going to be 3 up at this point. Mr. L gets a little bit desync there, going to have some staggered respawns, and this Wavebreaker is going to make sure that they have this space cleared. Finally, the whale comes out from Slimy, and that's going to be able to take down the Rainmaker at the perfect opportunity. And we've got a 2v1 on the board. Can Mr. L stop this Rainmaker before it gets the lead? And I don't think so. Apple Moon just needs a little bit more.
Beautiful. And that's fine. Honestly, go ahead, charge into the gunfire. If nothing else, you've already taken the lead and accrued, on top of that, a 72-point score for yourself. If this holds, you win, you're good. However, you have to do it for 3 minutes, and we know just how good this team can be, especially with the just individual capabilities that they've displayed.
So unfortunately, going to end up going down, though. Not going to be able to find the pick. Finally, Slimy's able to at least clean it up. And that was so important. Going down in that Crab Tank was so detrimental for them getting the momentum back on the side of Slim Jims. They really wanted to try and make a move there, make sure that they had the mid presence, but they weren't able to do so. And Slimy is going to end up going down. Baki has been so clutch on this 52 as well. Can just clean up everyone. Holy cow, Baki, calm down. Baki, calm down.
There's no stopping him. What are you going to do in the face of Baki? You're going to capitulate. That's what. That's So eventually going to stymie the tide. Sitting at 72 points again. They are going to take the Rainmaker. Not going to let it. They're not going to let it reset. And that's So going to take 3. And look at that. It eventually takes a stray burst bomb from Chins. That was pretty impressive what we just saw in the Crab Tank going to be employed as well. Trying to play a little bit of defense. It helps to have a tank to do it.
I think that So needs to sign up for some yoga classes, or else those shoulders are going to be feeling real sore. He's really trying to put this team on his back. Unfortunately, has to go up against the impressive Splash-O-Matic that we've been seeing from, I believe that's Chins. the problem with Slim Jim's comp right now is that it just has very little like sustainable paint, and especially if there's so much paint to move around, and on the other side they can just climb right behind that crab mech, rip you out of the cockpit, and lap you around a little bit, and just send you back to the respawn point. And they've been doing it so consistently every time. That's what has not been able to get a good crab tank.
Actually got your ride stolen, bro. That's unreal. Yeah, welcome to Philly, homie. But the Rainmaker is going to reset. Killer Whale is going to be employed. This is a final push, a little bit of a 1 minute panic here for Team Green.
I don't know.
That could be game. They got a little too aggressive. They could not coordinate. And that could be the last one in the box of Slim Jim's Giant Smoke Meat Sticks Hot Artificial Flavor 0.97 ounce 1X. As we're seeing Fortunes employ the Wave Breaker, and they're just going to try to ride the tide all the way to a victory as the Rainmaker picks up a splat.
They're going to send it all the way here. They're just going to keep it right behind this pillar, back up when this whale comes through. Maybe Slimy's able to find something here, but these Splatlings are just keeping them pegged down with that constant fire rate. One going down, the Booyah Bomb coming online, Baki's booyahing back. They're not going to be able to find it. That's a 3-0 lead for Fortunes.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think that's GG's, man. That's unreal. What we've seen from Fortunes is, yeah, nothing short of dominant, but we're seeing a little bit of struggle here from Slim Jim Giant Smoked Meat Sticks, Hot Artificial Flavor 0.97 1X. But the fact that we're seeing that, like, these initial pushes come through and do quite well, honestly, but they're just not able to capitalize, get that final one in. I mean, that's a lot of data that you're downloading. You'd think that it would work out to your favor eventually, but nothing is quite getting put together.
It seems like all of them are really trying to do the same thing, right? Like you mentioned, a lot of these are very skilled mechanical players. They're trying to make that play. They're trying to be the playmaker. Maybe one of them needs to take a step down and just say, hey, I'm going to paint. I'm going to try and just help everyone out, help make sure that there's 2v1s
Give you
instead
more
of just going
space.
for 1v1s. Give them more space. Give them more paint to move around and to keep the enemy at bay.
Yeah. I mean, it makes you wonder just because, again, this is a team of players that do very well in terms of seeking kills, but there's no real true frontliner. And the frontliner really is kind of the engine that makes the team run. It was the case in Splatoon 2, obviously, where you were just kind of paint bot and also armor. But that's I think those days have gone. But then again, you're still kind of support, so maybe you do employ the tacticooler in a way that you're not doing it in the middle of an enemy's ink. That's
exactly. You know, things like that.
Those are the things that you have to weigh if you are a frontliner now, and I don't think anyone really quite has an idea of how exactly to most effectively leverage their tools.
Exactly. There was a very classic example of the mini Splatling from Splat 1. And that's the kind of style of support that I want these players to be using nowadays, right? Where it's not just about the paint, but it's also about the presence, the kill pressure, the range, the disruptors to make sure that people can't go places, right? Like,
yeah,
it's a lot more about the tactical uses of their abilities and their kits, as well as just keeping everything at bay, right? Like, that is going to be their role. Everyone else needs to be going for those hard punches, those gut checks, right? Have that frontliner that's in everybody's face so that the backliners or the range players can clean up. But if there's not that base, that foundation, things are going to fall apart.
And that seems to be the case. Is like you're building on a lot of stuff, but it eventually just reveals itself to be a house of cards ultimately. Like those frags only last for so long. You can only have that bit of an advantage before you get into their base, and all of a sudden you're dealing with a cohesive unit. And that does seem to be the case. I mean, the Splash-O-Matic doing a little bit of work, but ultimately not enough. And we're seeing really just we're seeing it leveraged a little bit more effectively on the side of Fortunes, who are going to try to confirm their victory, make it a 4-0 perhaps. I did not see the map counterpick. We are indeed going back to zones.
Going to be on Eeltail Alley. which is a very long map mode, which might help the backline composition. But we are going to see an E-leader and a Flingza, and this is exactly the kind of counterplay that I wanted to see. Instead of relying on the similar range, or instead of relying on that front line presence, they're going to be going for displacement. They're going to be making sure that laser is keeping them down, keeping them pegged back, and then the missiles are going to make sure that they can't get safe in any one spot as Apple Boom goes down to that leader's pick. First thing, Sleepy is going to find the follow-up here on the zone, and although this zone is massive, that Flings is going to be able to paint so much of it alongside that Dually Squelchers. They're going to get the first tap.
So getting a little bit of frontline power with just a tiny bit of range. The Flingza is definitely what the doctor ordered. Chins is going to go down to the missiles. 3-2 on the map. And again, that Flingza, it's maybe this is the way.
Maybe this is the way. And it could be the start of a momentum shift, and that's all that they need. Right? I feel like this team especially is very momentum-based. These players, they like to be in control. They like to be feeling themselves, right? Like they want to be the ones that are putting on the pressure, especially that so. And we're going to have to see if he can find a pick here. He's going to be able to. Going to be a little bit dicey. Using that E-leader out in the open with no friends, no help. Is going to have to dodge these Zuka shots as well as protect that jump, and is going to be able to. And Stu, this is looking really good for Slim Jims.
Yeah, all of a sudden the individual prowess that was promised from Slim Jim's Giant Smoke Meat Sticks Hot Artificial Flavor 0.9 ounce 1X is starting to come forth, and Fortunes is going to have to take opportune advantage of that. But indeed, we're seeing that now, and it's going to be with one person left on the map. They're going to have to retreat, and eventually, Slim Jim's Giant Smoke Meat Sticks Hot Artificial Flavor 0.97 ounce 1X will retake and try to cut into the penalty, not before a 59-point lead here. Not by a score of 59 points, but 59 points on the board total.
Yeah.
Either way, we're getting more points on the board, and now it's going to be Fortunes that are halfway done.
You see, what happened earlier was that Chins really wanted to go make that move forward, right? Like, and get that play, but Datso was able to take them out right before they were able to get any pressure going. But this time, the Zuka came in and went right for that so, instantly taking down the E-leader, and was able to clear the path for the rest of the teammates to come through. And I feel like that's really going to be the difference here, is can they keep that so back? And they're going to be able to once again, as Sleepy's going to try and move forward, try and find a pick, is not going to be able to. Stu, this might be curtains.
Don't camp him. Don't camp him. Oh my God, they're camping him. That man has a family. Why are you doing Baki!
It's gonna get taken down, but are they gonna side Chins?
No! Let him play the game, bro. Unreal. And Rakesh, absolute just shenaniganry what we are seeing. And the Splash-O-Matic going to be doing even more work, sneaking in from behind, and that's going to be 2 bodies taken. And it's looking like Slim Jim's Giant Smoked Meat Sticks Hot Artificial Flavor 0.97 ounce 1X are going to find themselves, at least for now, staying in this one.
I know that Slim Jims will not be happy about this. They're gonna be hurting a little bit about this, I think.
I mean, it was the pressure that we saw at the end that made all the difference. Chins coming in from behind, and yeah, just was not able to take advantage of that initial take. And again, getting the lead, wrestling it from them, but not able to withstand the individual pressure that was being complemented by that initial backline foundation, which allowed them to control the middle of the map. And then you have that Splash-O-Matic doing a lot of work and keeping them going forward.
That was 4-0, right?
That was 4-0 for
4-0 and a
4
handshake.
Chins.
4 Chins, man.
BGs.
BGs?
Yeah.
Ah.
BGs no re?
Come on.
That's just BM, bro. Gosh.
It's fascinating. They kind of use the heavy splat lane kind of like how they use the mini in Splat 1, right? Like, I feel like that was kind of the idea there. Really mobile, like has a good special that can hold ground, and is able to put out just a crap ton of pain. Maybe that's the play. Yeah, no,
what Rakesh was able to do, certainly impressive. I mean, you got to think that he put some run speed on that on that composition of his.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way that we're seeing heavy Splatling, you're not just kind of sitting back and spraying paint wherever. You're getting right into the thick of things. You are able to combat. You're able to fight, and you're still keeping people at range. That grate was just a no-go zone straight up as long as Rakesh was there. We saw that the last 30 ticks of the meter. That's a rough way to go out.
Yeah.
If you are Slim Jim's Giant Smoke Me Sticks Hot Artificial Flavor 0.97 ounce 1X, but ultimately that's Fortune's going to take it, and that's a well-deserved break from them.
And you see the team meeting going on right now for Slim Jims because they're going to be right up next against Aged White Cheddar.
I'm not sure if that's the order. I just know those are the three.
I'm
Unless you ordered it
assuming.
that way.
I'm assuming that's why they're in that order, is because that's the route that it's going to take. But maybe not. Slimy might be getting up. It seems like they're staying docked, they're staying set. They're having a team meeting real quick before they have to get back into the next set. But either way, coming off that loss, they're gonna have to readjust. They're gonna have to take the download, put it into that file folder, make sure to parse through it. Make sure to unlock all their zips, and really make sure that they understand it. They read the README.
Yeah, no, that's I mean, geez, man, Eeltail Alley. There is like one way into where you're able to fight, and if you lose that, it's that might just be BG's no re.
Exactly. It's such a tight choke point getting back in. It's kind of like I almost make it. It seems kind of like a Reef situation where like it seems like there's a lot of options, but then when in practice, when you really try and go after it, there's not a lot that you can do. Right? Like there's that grading area, then there's that high area that's that's like really closed off and like super far away from the zone and everything, and then there's that low ground. But if a Splash-O-Matic has a ton of paint there and has a Ninja Squid, they're gonna just be surfing around and going at you from every angle, and it's gonna take so long to get back in.
You're getting sharked.
You're getting sharked, man.
Yeah, no, like I don't really know what to tell you. It's like, well, just be better at the game about it. But
just don't get into that position.
So folks, we are going to take a quick break. But coming up next, we're going to see if Slim Jim's Giant Smoked Meat Sticks Hot Artificial Flavor 0.97 ounce 1X are able to get a little bit of revenge at the expense of Aged White Cheddar, who are going to be making their stream debut. Don't go away. You're watching twitch.tv/bros_calamity. Welcome to Splatboro.